Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? Hope you are having a sunny and drama-free day. Ready for some new stories from Ask a Lawyer? Let's go to the first one, about OP's sister-in-law, who demands OP pays for her wedding because it never happened because OP called police on sister-in-law and she got arrested while getting ready for her wedding. Well, listen to the story to find out the details, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 24 female, and my husband, 24 male, have 3 dogs, 2 corgis and a Pomeranian. I rescued them from a puppy mill that was shut down about 6 months ago. They were all in horrible condition and had numerous medical issues. They are very friendly dogs and have adjusted to their new lives extremely well. My now sister-in-law, Amy, has met them a few times before the events occurred. Amy said she wanted them to be her ring bearer and flower girls for her wedding. Amy and I don't get along at all. She has said numerous hurtful and cruel things about me to my family, and really anybody who will listen. I'm not even invited to the wedding, as I would ruin the vibe. I told her she would not be using my dogs for her wedding, for multiple reasons, including me not being invited, and they were all having surgery a few days prior. They were all getting spayed as well as dental work. She wasn't happy about being told no. Now to the event that happened a couple weeks ago. All of my dogs had their surgeries on a Thursday. The wedding was on a Sunday in the evening. My husband and I left the house to go run errands Sunday morning, and the dogs were home asleep. I got a notification on my phone about motion at my back door. I check it, and it is Amy opening the door and walking into the house. I started panicking and telling my husband we need to leave now and go back to the house. I show him the video, and he agrees. I start calling my brother and demanding for him to get his wife out of my house, and if she leaves with my dogs, I will call the police. He hung up on me. I got home, and all of my dogs are gone, and their cones were left in their crates. I called the police for theft and breaking and entering. The police arrived, and I showed them the video of her getting into our house and leaving with the dogs. I told them where her venue was, as I had seen a copy of the invitation. The police made it to the venue and were able to locate all my dogs. One had opened her stitches and was bleeding from the wound. My husband rushed her to an emergency vet to get the stitches closed. Amy was arrested in the middle of getting ready for her wedding and has been charged with a Class 1 felony and a few misdemeanors. Now everybody is saying I ruined the wedding and I overreacted to the entire situation. I'm also being told that I need to pay them back for the wedding since it never happened. I'm refusing to pay anybody back, as well as drop the charges. Edit. A lot of people are asking how she managed to get in. The front and back door only have a deadbolt that unlocks with the code and no physical key. I don't think OP is in the wrong here. OP didn't ruin the wedding. She did. I don't think OP should drop the charges. OP should get a restraining order and go no contact. What a vile person she is. And the whole family doesn't seem much better if they think breaking and entering and theft is okay. Let's see if the community agrees with me. PDK112 says, "Not the a-hole. Get a restraining order against her, press charges, save the vet bill and request that it be paid as part of her restitution. This way it can't be discharged in bankruptcy. Threaten anyone who tries to get you to drop the charges with witness tampering." Salt Spray Rose says, "Not the a-hole. Not only are you not responsible for the cost of her wedding, but she is responsible for your additional vet bills due to her criminal actions, resulting in the stitches being opened. If she doesn't reimburse you for the vet bill, talk to the DA, prosecutor, about having it added to her sentence as restitution." Ebony Doe says, "Not the a-hole. She kidnapped your still healing pets for her own selfish wants and needs. Do not drop the charges. Teach her her actions have consequences." I, 30 male, am at a loss here and not sure what to do. When I was 3, my mom, 52 female, married a guy who did not like the fact I wasn't his and didn't want to constantly provide for someone else's kid. The week before the wedding, he gave her an ultimatum, and because he had money, she chose him and opted to just have me on weekends when he wasn't around. My grandparents became my primary caretakers until my dad was able to move back to our country. When I was 6, my dad married my stepmom, 54 female, and I admittedly didn't make things easy for her for a while. I had some abandonment, trust, and mommy issues, and took it out on her. My stepmom was a very loving and patient person, but made it clear that she wasn't going to take my crap. Eventually, we were able to find a type of relationship that worked for us. When I was about 15, my dad passed away, and I was so lost and hurt. My grandparents offered to take me in, but my stepmom would not hear of it, and felt like I needed to stay close to my half-siblings, 8 female and 8 male. She got me therapy, and I was able to work through even more of my issues. By the time I graduated high school, I was calling her mom and always grateful for the effort she put into me growing up. 5 years ago, my stepmom was diagnosed with cancer, and I was devastated. Even though the doctors said that they caught it at a good time, still I felt like I was going to lose her and took a lesser-paying job so I could move back home and have more free time to care for her. I basically became the man of the house and handled a lot of the finances, took my stepmom to most of her appointments, sat beside her on most of her meetings with the doctor, held her hand when she was suffering through the chemo, and did my best to give my siblings as normal of a life as possible. It was a rough time, but she beat cancer, and I'm not ashamed to say I wept tears of joy and made several posts in celebration. I even paid for all of us to go on a family vacation. Now, my mom, unfortunately, was diagnosed with cancer a few months ago, and I was sorry to hear about it. I sent her a card and called her to say that I wished her the best, and sent her some information that my stepmom found very helpful. Recently, my cousin called me enraged at the lack of effort that I'm showing my mom compared to what I gave my stepmom, and how she's hurt that her own son doesn't seem to care whether she lives or dies. I honestly didn't think about it very much when it came to my mom. I'm sad for her, but I don't feel like this would wreck my world sad. Am I the a-hole for not caring very much about my mom getting cancer? Edited to add, my mom's husband isn't real big on kids, so unless my mom gave birth to a secret child, I am her only child. I think that's one of the reasons why my cousin is so angry. 1. My cousin is 23 and my maternal aunt's daughter, and she's a lot closer to my mom than I am, which I also feel contributes to her age. 2. Between now and when I was first informed of my mom's cancer, I've called her a few times to see how she's doing, but there's never been a direct conversation about me going over to see her or physically helping. She lives in another state than me. I'm an American living in the USA. 3. I honestly felt that up until now, everything was good between us, as my mom has never asked for me to help and never expressed sadness about me not being there for her the way I was for my stepmom. 4. From my understanding, my mom's husband is paying all of her medical bills, but from what she's told me, it doesn't sound like he's there for her emotionally. Motherhood is a privilege, not a right. OP's mom made her choice when she chose her new husband over OP. She's hurt that her own son doesn't seem to care whether she lives or dies. Well, she should have a good think how OP felt when his own mother abandoned him and chose a man instead of her child. OP's stepmother was actually the one who took on the role of motherhood and was actually there for OP, and OP returned the favor. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Setting Nice 8853 says, "Not the a-hole. Your mom made her bed. She should lie in it." Desavel says, "Not the a-hole. People love to use blood to excuse crappy behavior. You can't hate them. They're your mom, or let it go. I mean, they're family." But never once are these arguments weighing in on how we should hold family to a higher standard. You're not getting revenge here. You're returning the same energy. Nothing wrong with that. Ask yourself this. If this was a random friend who treated you this way, would you even consider their feelings? Admiral Judgment says, "Not the a-hole. Your father's second wife is the only mother you've ever really had. She actively looked out for you and your mental well-being. You grew up in a loving family with siblings and continue to maintain those ties after your father died. Your biological mother chose to prioritize her new husband, not just when she remarried, but again when you lost your dad. At that point, when your bio mom would have been happy for you to go back with your grandparents, your stepmom fought for you." I am 32 female. My sister is 37 female. My brother-in-law is 40 male. My brother-in-law was married to his high school sweetheart, but she died tragically about 10 years ago. He and my sister got together 4 years ago, and they've been married for 1 year. My brother-in-law constantly compares my sister to his wife who passed. These are fake names, but say my sister's name is Amy and his dead wife's name is Betty. He will say things like, "Amy's not much of a cook, but Betty always made the best steak. I'd do anything to eat her cooking again." Or my sister has flat, straight brown hair that she is somewhat insecure about. And my brother-in-law will say, "Betty always had such beautiful blonde hair. It was so thick and shiny." My sister has told me that these comments make her feel incredibly insecure and unloved, but she doesn't want to bring it up and seemingly insult his dead wife. The other day, I went to lunch with my brother-in-law, sister, and my 2 brothers and their partners. My brother-in-law made a passing comment about how he wanted a dog, but my sister is horribly allergic. He said Betty was such a dog person. She would have let me have a dog if she was still around. Then he moved on like it was nothing. I didn't confront him in front of everything, but after lunch, I pulled him aside and told him to shut up about Betty. He said that I was being really rude, and he was just honoring her memory by talking about her. I said he could talk about her, but he didn't need to compare my sister to her ever. He said that the comparison was natural in his mind because they were both his wives, and the comparisons were usually funny and lighthearted. I really disagreed with him, but I had to leave it there because he had somewhere to be. But it's been really bothering me, so I wanted to ask here. Am I the a-hole? I think OP's brother-in-law has serious issues and needs to get some professional help. 10 years is a significant amount of time to mourn someone, and he is being extremely unfair to OP's sister by constantly comparing Amy to Betty. OP needs to talk to Amy and tell her to start standing up for herself. She sounds like she's already unhappy in her marriage as it is. Don't you think so, guys? And let's hear what the community thinks. Similar Pineapple 418 says, "Not the a-hole, but your brother-in-law is. Your sister deserves better. They need professional help." Eternal Chrysalism 420 says, "Not the a-hole. That doesn't sound lighthearted to me. It sounds depreciating and judgmental. Whenever honoring is comparing how your new wife is somehow worse or less than your old wife, that's not honoring." Suspended Brain says, "Not the a-hole. Where's the honoring part when he uses his dead wife's name to hurt someone else? That's sick. You did right by calling him out, and that was still nice of you the way you did it. I hope the sister is all right." My boyfriend, male 29, was part of a big friendship group growing up, all school friends. Dave, his best friend, has dated Sheila forever, so my boyfriend ended up dating Sheila's best mate, Claire. Boyfriend and Claire went out for a while when they were around 21. We started dating a while after I thought they had split up. One night, I found out he had been dating both me and Claire for around 6 months. He hadn't broken up with her as he had said he had, and the proverbial hit the fan. He was kicked out of the friendship group except for Dave, who remained his friend. I was an idiot, so after a while, I forgave him, and we started dating again. Spent a long time working on our relationship, building up trust, and it did take a while, but we got there, and we're very happy with very few issues 7 years on. For a few years, he wasn't allowed to go around to Dave's because Sheila hated him. Understandable. Then, after a while, he started to be allowed round. Then after maybe 6 years, I started to think this is getting a bit silly now with him being invited round to social engagements, but absolutely not me. I started bringing it up to boyfriend, and boyfriend said it wasn't his choice. Note, there were not many of these, so it was a bit of a non-issue at the time. Then he got an invite to a wedding abroad, but just him. I pointed out that it wouldn't be cool for him to go without me, but he couldn't miss his best friend Dave's wedding and was a groomsman. It was crappy for us, but he went and had a horrible time for the week and realized how horrible what they were doing to me was. I got a promise that he was going to do better at sticking up for me. Next came Dave's 30th birthday party. Boyfriend got an invite, but strictly not me again, and he replied and said that it wasn't fair to keep doing that, and he would only be attending if I was invited too. He didn't end up going because Sheila replied that as she didn't know me, it would be weird for me to be there. He got a message after the party from Dave, saying that Dave understood why he didn't come, but could see both sides, and that we should all go out for a drink together sometime. Now, I've dealt with being snubbed for ages, including running into her, and she physically sneered at me when I tried to say hi. I simply don't want to go for the drink with someone that rude. I think it has come too far now. My boyfriend's 30th is coming up this year, and I want to have a big party for him. Would I be the a-hole if I invited him and specifically said, but not Sheila, as I don't really know her? As much as I don't like being petty, I just want to make a point. Spoke to my friends and they all said heck yeah, but part of me would feel guilty for putting boyfriend and Dave in that situation. I don't think OP is in the wrong for wanting to give this girl a taste of her own medicine. But if OP wants to be given more respect in the future, sometimes you have to be the bigger person. She's petty for taking her anger out on OP, when in all honesty, OP's boyfriend was the one at fault, but it's years later, and OP chose to work through it. She's trying to be a good friend to the girl OP's boyfriend rejected, so she's not 100% evil. I would extend the invite to Dave and guest. That way OP seems like the bigger person, but gets the satisfaction of kinda snubbing her. Let's see if the community agrees with me. Progressive Lens says, not the a-hole. Why should you have to tolerate her at the party? Although perhaps instead of saying she's not invited, say I assume that only Dave will attend, given I will be there, and Sheila has made it very clear she can't be involved in social engagements with me. If this had changed, and we'll all be attending events together going forward, then that would be wonderful news. Make it clear that you aren't excluding her, she's excluding herself. Then she stays the petty one rather than you being petty with her. Hestian Sun says, not the a-hole. The real a-hole here is your boyfriend. Has he ever owned up to the fact that he duped both you and Claire, and that you had no knowledge that he was still dating her when you were dating him? Or that you broke up with him as soon as you found out, and then eventually got back together after time? It makes him sound like more of a sleazebag, but if that is an honest representation of reality, it explains your actions, which would probably be more understandable to Sheila. I'd wager he's never stood up for you and never explained that critical detail. If that's the case, all of this is his fault, not yours, not Sheila's, not Dave's. Deleted User says, not the a-hole. Your boyfriend is absolutely the biggest a-hole in this story. First, for what happened when you were 21, and then for letting Sheila punish you for something that was entirely his fault. Sheila is the second a-hole, Dave the third. Not inviting Sheila doesn't seem like petty revenge to me at all, just like basic self-respect.